To succeed in Black Myth Wukong, you're gonna need some serious skills. And I'm talking about literal skill points. You're going to get a lot of them as you level up. This guide will show you the best ways to spend them to make your monkey as mighty as he can be. First things first, it's important to understand how these skill points, aka sparks, work. You'll get one every time you level up, plus a freebie every time you interact with one of the game's many meditation spots for the first time. You can then spend your points simply by opening up the Self-Advance tab on the pause menu. Many options are available right from the start, so we'll make sure you don't get overwhelmed by telling you which ones to get first. Plus, some extra tips depending on your preferred playstyle. More skills unlock at certain points in the game or by reaching a specific character level. The number next to the skill indicates how strong you have to be before you can unlock it. And don't forget that you can respec at any time at the Keeper's Shrines. Now let's go over which skills you need to get at the very start. As a point of order, Black Myth doesn't have builds in the traditional RPG sense. You are encouraged to use a combination of melee attacks, magic spells, and a bunch of other tricks up your sleeve to win these tough fights. We'll cover some specific playstyles in a moment, but for now, there are some general skills that every player should grab before they start branching out. The first and perhaps most obvious is Robust Constitution, found on the survival tree. Every point spent here raises your maximum HP. The benefit there is obvious. You won't die as much. As for your stamina, you'll want the endurance and simian agility skills in that category. They reduce the stamina cost of your sprinting and dodging, respectively. Until you get a few more tools at your disposal, the best thing you can do is make yourself healthier and more nimble. It's also worth noting that Chapter 2 has a quest line that will allow you to craft more stat upgrades in exchange for mind cores. So once you reach that point, feel free to respec out of these and into more specialized skills. If you're all about those melee attacks, you need to raise that stamina even higher. The more you have, the more you can attack in succession and overwhelm your foes. Rampant Vigor under the survival skill tree will increase this meter every time you rank it up. As for your specific attacks, have a look at the Martial Arts tab and choose Swift Engage. This increases the range for initiating your light attack, and the longer that is, the faster you can swoop in and start bashing away. Similarly, Effortless Finisher in the same skill tree increases the focus you'll gain on the second hit of a combo. You want to stack that meter quickly if you're looking to use your heavy attacks. Those heavy attacks change depending on which stance you're in, and that's why melee-focused players need to unlock the other two as soon as they're available. Smash Stance is your default, and while it does hit the hardest, it also has the shortest range. Pillar Stance does AoE damage as part of its heavy attack. Thrust Stance, as the name implies, extends your staff outward to hit faraway enemies with your heavy. The more you unlock here, the more overall melee options you have, and the more sparks you spend here, the more focus pips you'll add to your meter. To reiterate, you can't really get by in Black Myth with a pure magic build. However, the game does have a handful of fun spells that you can use to spice up your fighting style. Once you unlock Immobilize after the Bullguard boss fight in Chapter 1, that's the ideal ability to focus on. This spell holds enemies in place for a limited time, letting you get in some free hits. Put points into the Crash skill, and you'll do extra damage when they're stunned. The Stagnation skill is also clutch. If you hit an enemy while they're stunned, the next time you hit them with Immobilize, they'll be stuck for even longer. This ability stacks, so it's absolutely vital for tough boss fights, especially when you need a breather. Black Myth also has a variety of transformations you can do, and once you start unlocking them, it's a good idea to put some points into the Evergreen skill under the transformation tree. This increases the might of all of those special forms, meaning you can stay in your monster body for longer. All of these magical abilities have cooldowns, but they still require mana to execute once they're primed. Make sure you invest in Spiritual Awakening under the survival skill tree to give yourself more mana to play with. Finally, the game offers some stealthier options. You can't be a full-on rogue, but you can make a game plan for confusing and ambushing enemies. It all starts with the Cloud Step spell. Beat the Blackwind King in Chapter 1 to unlock it. Then spend some sparks on its Gallop ability. Cloud Step lets you leave behind a decoy to distract the enemy, while you go invisible and prepare for a surprise attack. Gallop lets you move faster while invisible. Converging Clouds makes the invisibility last longer, and Ruse gives your decoy more health. Altogether, these will help you fool your enemies and get the drop on ranged opponents, like all those annoying archers. Additionally, you should put some points into Concealed Observation under Cloud Step. That will increase your critical hit chance when emerging from invisibility with your surprise attack. Pair that with Wrathful Escalation under the survival skill tree, and you'll boost your overall crit chance even further. It's a powerful combo, and while it's not a skill, once you beat the end boss of Chapter 1, you can craft new leg armor that massively increases your Unveiling Strike after remaining invisible for a few moments. Combine this with the increased crit chance and invisibility we just recommended, and you'll deal considerable damage when you pop out. This guide should help you pop off as a better player too. Find the build that works best for you and go for it. For everything else Black Myth Wukong, swing on over to IGN.